so glad you're here with us and you decided to spend your Friday hanging out with us for the Power Lunch. It's all going to be about voter turnout, competitive politics, and 100 districts strong. Let's get this show started, as we say, and let's introduce this great lineup that will be talking about why we're going to be competitive and what we're doing to support these candidates. So first up, I love to welcome Amanda Litman. Hello, Amanda.
Hi.
Great to see you, co-founder of Run for Something, author and podcaster, and she is all about recruiting and supporting young progressives to run in down ballot races to build a big sustainable bench, as we say. So thank you so much. We look forward to hearing about what you guys will be doing in Virginia and throughout the states.
I'm excited.
Yay! And then of course, Jess Brown. Welcome, Jess.
So great to be here. Thanks for having me.
So great to see you. And you are in the Competitive Commonwealth Fund, and you're the organizing coordinator for SEIU Virginia 512. We love SEIU, so thank you for being here. All right. Oh, you're the chair.
I'm thrilled.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm thrilled. And I'm the chair of Competitive Commonwealth Fund. Too.
Yeah, I missed that. I was like, yeah, what? You're the chair. Well, good. Well, I'm glad you're sitting in your chair today with us. So we'll talk to you about why it's important to support all these candidates, and especially, I love the word competitive. So that's exactly what we need to do to build those blue, as we said, to build those, spread those blue seeds. So thank you for being here. And also next up, Deborah Rodman, Virginia State Chair, Vote Mama. How are you, Mama?
I'm excited to be here. Thanks so much for having me.
Well, we're real excited to hear about Vote Mama and what you'll be doing in Virginia and why it's important to support progressive women that are moms running for office. So thank you.
Thank you.
All righty. And then next up, a friend of the show and also a backer, a patron. I'm sure you're something. Yvonne Lewis. Oh, look at you. You look great.
Greetings. How are you today?
Yeah, great to see you on this side of the show, Yvonne, coming from Virginia Beach.
Yep.
Yes, and here to talk about, you're a community activist. You've been doing this forever and really going to talk to us today about some of these really historical organizations, the ones that are really the backbone of the grassroots movement. So thank you for being
That's
here.
Good.
Yeah, awesome. And then, of course, all the way, another person from Virginia Beach, one of our favorite delegates, Kelly Fowler from House District 21. How are you, Kelly?
I'm good. Oh, thank you so much for having me.
Oh, I love it.
I'm so excited to be here, and it's so nice to see so many friendly faces that I haven't seen in so long, and it just feels like a camaraderie. I'm really excited. Thank you so much for doing this.
No, we really want to keep the spotlight on you this year because we're coming to Virginia Beach. We're going to be there for sure, knocking doors. We know that being competitive, that we want to go and help you win again and all the candidates around. So thank you for being here. It's great to see you. All right. And then, as we say, last but not least, we have Jennifer Gaylor from the National Women's Political Caucus in Virginia. How are you doing, Jennifer?
Hey, I'm so glad to be here. Thank you so much. This is my first time, and hopefully it won't be the last.
The first time to the Power Lunch?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Oh, well,
and as a guest. I mean, I came in hot. First time and first time guest.
Well, good, because there's what I love about your organization, new in Virginia. I became a founding member, and we're creating, as we say, good trouble. And these organizations, as we layer them in, really make the difference when we're talking about momentum and energy. And you're VP of Communications for the National Women's Political Caucus, correct?
That's correct, in Virginia. Yep.
Okay, well, good. Well, we'll be communicating with you later.
Great.
So I can't wait. Robin Zeff Warner will be doing that interview. So she'll give my jaw a break, as we say. So with that said, we have a great lineup, and the show cannot be complete if I did not introduce this wonderful team that is the backbone of this show. And I want everybody to say hello to Stair Calhoun, Ambassador Buzz, and Big Boss of Network Nova.
Hello, everyone. Share the Facebook Live, please.
Oh, look at that. Yeah, I love it. She likes to boss us and she's good at it. So I'm so glad you're on the team. And next up, Robin Zeph Warner, Postcards of Virginia, the show wizard, making it happen.
Hello.
Yeah, and great job with the Pitbull video today, adding in those candidates and we will show that again for sure today. And we will be adding more candidates in it. So
Oh,
everybody.
and our mascot Phoebe's here.
Oh,
Of course
good.
she's here.
Here. Okay, meow, Phoebe. All right, great. And then I'm so glad to welcome back another show anchor, our news anchor, Luisa Boyarski. Hey, Luisa.
Does she not seem to be here right now?
Yeah, she is. She's right here.
Oh, good.
Here.
Okay.
Yeah,
We
she's,
had a little trouble, but I made it this morning or this for the noon hour. So it's great to see everyone. Glad to be back. And there's a lot going on in Virginia. So excited to talk about it.
I can't wait. We're going to really chitty chat about that. So that will be good. And I'd like to introduce the last new person on our tech team is Rosemary Savino, a girlfriend and also another backbone person that's helped us over the years at the Women's Summit and Network Nova. Hello, Rosemary.
Hey everybody, I'm so excited to hear from everyone today about how we are going to win.
All right, I love it. Now I have a little bit of sad news for me. Krista Jones cannot be here today, so I will be really missing not only her necklaces, but she is just a wonderful person to have as co-host. So I just want to say shout out to Krista, and we will hopefully be hearing from her soon, but she won't be here with us today. So we're going to get it started. I'm glad you stayed on the screen. You didn't go anywhere because we need to get caught up on Virginia politics. So over to you, Luisa.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much. So story to start off for today. I went and voted this morning. Early voting has started. And the greatest part of this story was after I voted and I had my little sticker on, which of course I've lost by now, but I put on my when we vote, we win pin instead. A woman stopped me and she said, "Hey, I just moved here from Maryland. What's all this voting about? What are you guys voting for this year?" So I got to tell her about that we are electing our governor and our lieutenant governor and our attorney general and all of our House. And she was like, "Oh, wow, I really need to look this up." And we talked a little bit more and I told her about how the governor's seat works in Virginia and she was really fired up. So I think the more we can be out there just letting people know we're voting, it's time to vote, is really important. So I will put a link in the chat that goes to the iwillvote.com where you can find information on where you can vote early. It was so easy. No one else was there this morning. Go vote before June 8th. So the other thing is if you live in Arlington County, we are in the middle of a caucus for our primary for school board. So if you have not already voted in the caucus, I will put the link. It is online voting for the caucus. It is easy. It's very exciting. First time online voting ever. Try it out. It's great. So campaign updates. As we've heard already, we have 100 people running in 100 seats. This is the first time, I'm going to say in decades, I don't know, maybe ever. We are so lucky. We are so lucky in Virginia to have so many fantastic Democrats running for office. So it is really our job to step up and support them. As Catherine mentioned, we really need help in Hampton Roads and Virginia Beach. It's going to be a major focus. Fortunately, we're getting some support from outside the state as well, and people are looking to Virginia Beach as the area to provide that support, which is great news. I heard from the coordinated campaign. Very excitingly, they have a bottom-up focus this year. So they are really focused on the House races with the idea that if we get our people, our good Democrats elected in the House, that is going to be a reverse coattails up to the governor. So they are putting less effort on the governor's race and more effort on the House races, which we've been talking about for years. So super excited to hear that from them. All of our races have campaign staff already. And if they are not already, in the next couple of weeks, everyone should be canvassing. So really exciting opportunities to get involved early in these races. The biggest thing I keep telling people is an investment this year in our House races is an investment for 3 years because our House members will be running 3 years in a row because we're redistricting next year instead of this year. So if we need to put an effort on a particular year, this is the year that we want to make sure we are at the doors and we are supporting our candidates. I'm also going to share with you 2 great opportunities for volunteering. And these are with groups that are coming from outside of Virginia, but have really strong tech support to help us do two important things. One of them is getting voters rides to the polls. And this is something that hasn't been very well coordinated in Virginia in the past. And so I'm going to put a link so that you can sign up to help drive voters. And they have an app and it makes it super easy, and they will do the work to help connect you as a driver to a voter, or if you meet a voter who needs a ride, they can go to the app and request a ride. They're going to be in Virginia Beach for the primaries, and then they will be around Virginia in different areas during the early voting and general election in the fall. And then the last thing is Turnout Nation. Turnout Nation has a one-to-one voter recruitment strategy, and I'll put a little more information in the chat, but basically what it means is you choose 10 people that you know and you want to make sure remember to vote both in the primary and in the general. I think they primarily will be doing the general in Virginia, and the whole point is reach out to them, right? We have found, and they've actually studied this, that if you reach out to your friends, they are 13% more likely to vote in that particular election. That is better than our stats for canvassing. So absolutely, we need to get our friends out there first and foremost. So I will also include a link where you can sign up to be a captain for Turnout Nation. So that is my update, Catherine. A lot going on.
I'm so excited. And it's good to remind everybody when we look at this 2020 census data, right? We saw that the huge increase in voting, right? And now it's easier to vote in Virginia. And I think it's going to be really important to really get voters understanding why it's important to keep this blue trifecta, and that the first thing they want to do is overturn voting rights, right? We see the Supreme Court case just recently that's going to threaten Roe v. Wade. These are the kind of issues that we really know that will motivate, should motivate, and the message has to be sent that we need to hold that trifecta. And I know Jess Brown will speak that today, Amanda Litman. It is about holding that power. And the message has to be sent that we need to hold that trifecta.
Oh, I see Sarah has unmuted. Sarah, remute.
It is about. She's I always have to watch Sarah. She's.
There we go. Yeah, absolutely, Catherine. The one thing to note, though, is that if you're talking to low propensity or maybe independent voters,
right,
talking about blue trifecta is not the best messaging, right? Yes. So it's really important that we talk about the accomplishments that we've made in Virginia and how important it is for our candidates to be reelected and for new Democrats to be elected so we can continue to have this kind of success. But absolutely talk about specific issues that these voters care about.
Right.
The biggest thing we've been hearing is people are not motivated right now to vote, right? It's weird, right? They've only been voting for years and years and years, but it's an off year. There's not a federal election. A lot of people don't recognize why state level elections are so critical in terms of the policies that can be passed. So those are some of the things that are helpful.
Well, yeah, I guess my inside language in this group is why we need to hold the trifecta, to get these things passed, or obviously the Supreme Court, what happens on the national, these issues. Virginia is great. We were able to vote so much easier because we do have now the ability in the last, year or two with power to do these things that just make things easier for everybody to vote, and also all the protections and all the great things. And you're absolutely right. We have to get that messaging out. So I'm excited to hear what other, as we say, people in the room. But I'll just say one more thing, is I really do believe we will win, and we will win using that 2017 model, which was bottom up. Our delegates, our candidates just create the excitement, and they know how to message, they know how to work their district. And we're going to hear from Kelly today to talk about her race. And in the room today, I see a lot of people running for office. So we're so glad, and we will make sure that we are supporting you. And that's one thing I'd like everybody to do today, is pick a candidate, pick a few, and follow them to the very last door. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So Luisa, thank you so much. Glad to see you back in pocket.
Good to see you too. Thank you all. And I'll put all that information in the chat for you. So
yes,
go vote.
People join the coalition and put the link in there so they can come to a meeting.
Will do.
All right. Let's get it going. Amanda Litman, hello, Run for Something. Let's get you up on the screen, my friend. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm so excited to be here with a bunch of fellow Virginians. This is so fun.
Yes, yeah, you were from right in Fairfax here, went to Robinson High School.
That's right. It's where I got my start knocking doors for Cray Deeds and Tim Kaine when I was younger, and now doing my best to help hold Virginia blue as a political operative on the national scale.
Yeah, nice. So why don't you let's just get started for those to talk about Run for Something, the genesis of this. I mean, you're obviously supporting young progressive, recruiting and supporting young progressive candidates. So tell me about how this got started and also, I mean, why you really believe this was necessary and needed, and give us some background on it.
Definitely. So I was born and raised in Virginia, went to Northwestern for college, started working for Barack Obama when I was a senior at school, was hired before I graduated, moved around a bit for a bunch of campaigns, and then ended up here in New York to work for Hillary Clinton. After Election Day, I was quite obviously devastated. I got a Facebook message from somebody I went to college with. Hey, Amanda, I'm a public school teacher here in Chicago. I've been thinking about running for office because our budgets keep getting slashed. If Trump can be president, seems like anybody can do this. What do I do? And I didn't have an answer for him because at the time, if you were young, if you were newly excited about politics and you wanted to do more than vote and more than volunteer, there was nowhere you could go that would be guaranteed to take your call. And that to me felt like a symptom of some really big problems in the Democratic Party. So reached out to a whole bunch of people, one of whom became my co-founder, Ross Morales-Ricchetto. We wrote a plan, we built a website, and we launched Run for Something on Inauguration Day, thinking it would be really small. We'd get maybe 100 people who wanted to run in the first year. In the first week, we had 1,000 people sign up. As of today, we're up to more than 77,000 young people all across the country who've raised their hands to say they want to run. We've endorsed more than 1,700, and we've elected nearly 510 people across 46 states, mostly women, mostly people of color, about a fifth LGBTQ, and they are making a difference in people's lives, including a number of folks in the Virginia State Legislature, on city councils and school boards across the Commonwealth, and some folks I see on the participant list, which is just so cool, including Delegate Kelly Fowler. I see Jennifer Kitchen and a few others. This is so great. So it is really fun. We work mostly with young people, exclusively with young people, running for local office all across the country.
No, so tell me in the sense of, I mean, it makes sense when we were talking before about some of these obstacles, and then we'll get to I know we're really interested in the research too that you've done, because about this boosting of voter turnout, which I do believe even the 2020 census showed how many more young people are voting. So you see young people voting, running for office, but what are the major obstacles that you find these candidates have? I know there's some obvious ones, but.
Well, there's some structural stuff around the way that government is built, from the fact that in a lot of states, these are not full-time positions and they're not paid accordingly, which means that if you're not independently wealthy or don't have a wealthy partner, you can't afford to do it. Things like childcare and being able to use childcare funds, which I know Vote Mama focuses really heavily on. Things like the fact that we often don't assume or believe that people who don't fit our idea of a traditional candidate can win. And what that's done historically has kept young people, kept women, kept people of color out of the process. You know, Virginia is not one of these places, but in some states we've heard rumors of when it's time to recruit candidates, they literally flip open the yearbook, find the football coach in the local high school and reach out to him. Because obviously the football coach must be the most connected person in the community.
Right.
It's hard. There's a lot of stuff that's structural, and then there's a lot of stuff that's preconceived notions that we as Democrats have layered onto ourselves that have kept really good candidates from engaging. But I'm really encouraged to see that's changing so dramatically, especially over the last 5 years, and really glad that I think Run for Something has been a big part of that.
No, in Virginia, talk about what some of the candidates you're supporting, and don't we have talk about history making. Don't we have the youngest candidate running?
I believe so, yeah. So Run for Something has worked with candidates in Virginia since 2017. That cycle, we worked with Delegate Danica Rome. We worked with my girl, Jennifer Carroll Foy, who I'm so excited to see for governor. We worked with Kelly Fowler down in Virginia Beach. We worked with Skylar Van Valkenburg. We've worked with folks running for city councils like Elizabeth Bennett Parker, who's now running for State House, Joshua Cole, Aaliyah Gaskins in Alexandria, Jennifer Kitchen down in Charlottesville. We just endorsed this week Bridget Craighood in Rocky Mount, which is so exciting. And we've got a number of amazing candidates across the state. In fact, I was just looking this up this morning. Run for Something has worked with more than 70 candidates across Virginia, ranging from State House, State Senate, all the way down.
Well, that's awesome. So why don't we talk about your research, what you found, because I think like Luisa was just saying, it's interesting that the coordinated campaign got it. I mean, already has gotten, which makes me feel good that they understand that this is really going to be about the down ballot. So what did your research, talk a little bit about that and actually why even you decided to do that?
Yes, so over the last couple of years, we have found that, or hypothesized that local candidates drive top of the ticket turnout. And we saw this at first glance in Virginia in 2017, when a number of our candidates like Danica and Jennifer Carroll Foy outperformed the top of the ticket and were, quite honestly, a little more exciting than Ralph Northam. That's not to say Governor Northam was a bad candidate necessarily, although, you know, what happened next sort of made it kind of messy, but the local candidates were better. They were more exciting. They were also the ones knocking doors and talking to the voters in a meaningful way about issues that matter to their community. So after 2020, we started to dig into the data. We had a presidential election. We had a bunch of candidates we were working with, and we looked at whether simply contesting a state legislative race, having candidates fully running on the ballot, which we now know Virginia Democrats are doing with 100 candidates on the ballot this year, increases to performance for the top of the ticket anywhere from 0.3 to 1.5%. That's just having someone on the ballot. What that tells me is that, and this was in a presidential election where there's like a lot going on at the top of the ticket. In 2021, where the biggest thing is the governor's race, and you know there's a lot of divergent conversation around it, these local candidates can have a huge impact, in no small part because it means we're organizing everywhere. We have someone in every community who's knocking doors and talking to voters and having those conversations that we know drives turnout more effectively than TV ads or newspaper or mail or anything else. So I think it's really, really good to see that Virginia Democrats are taking their cue from this. And we're excited to hope to see this play out in the data this year.
No, and I think, you know, it's a perfect segue to our next guest, because Jess Brown, who is very excited to see you come on as well. I mean, these are all these, what I love about what we're all doing here is all these organizations working together. Also, you know, the momentum of the 100, the momentum of the different PACs and different ways we're trying to help and support all these candidates. Really, you know, we really will increase voter turnout, because in the end, you need people to vote.
You got to give people a reason to show up at the polls.
And exactly. So thank you for being here today. It was so great to see you. And I know that we will be definitely supporting. I know Jenny Kitchen's in the room, and if you could stay for the after chat, we definitely like to stay after 1 o'clock, and I'm sure we'll have candidates hanging out, and we'll be talking about how we're going to win this thing. That's for sure.
I'll try my best. Thank you for having me.
Amanda. Great to see you. And so next up, Jess Brown. I'm excited to layer on that conversation. Like you said, you're chair of the Competitive Commonwealth Fund. And what I'm interested in, what you just heard, how does that play into why we need to support all these candidates? I know we talked about this. Let's go over that, like what you do, what the Competitive Fund does, and also why you feel like it's super key to support the candidates and run everywhere.
Absolutely. Well, hello, everybody. I'm really excited to join the Friday Power Lunch with all of you. And it's exciting to celebrate reaching the milestone of contesting 100 races in the Virginia House of Delegates. That's so exciting. My name is Jess Brown. I'm the chair of the Competitive Commonwealth Fund. I do this as volunteer work. Through my work for the union, SEIU Virginia 512 here in Virginia for the last 11 years, I've had a front row seat in watching the House of Delegates transform from a Republican supermajority to a Democratic majority with a little bit of breathing room in a relatively short period of time. This is what has inspired my work with the Competitive Commonwealth Fund. And a lot of the folks in this room have really inspired me, especially Deborah Rodman, Kelly Fowler. Like, it was just awesome watching you two flip seats not too long ago. Competitive Commonwealth Fund is a Virginia state PAC, and it is similar in a lot of ways to run for something that focuses on an important strategy to winning and enduring Democratic majority in the Virginia House of Delegates and in the statewide executive offices, the top of the ticket too. The strategy is you have to have strong candidates running in every state House district, in every corner of Virginia, especially the districts that do not traditionally receive enough support and attention because they are written off as Republican strongholds. Supporting the work of CCF is a part of playing the long game in not only winning, but also maintaining positive progressive change in Virginia. Here are the 4 reasons why I think it's important to support Democrats in bright red districts. Number 1, it will cause powerful, entrenched Republican incumbents like Minority Leader Todd Gilbert or Delegate Nick Fridas to have to spend money in their own districts to defend their own seat. Otherwise, they would be writing outsized checks to Republicans running in more competitive districts, for example, like Dan Helmer's district. And if you're running, if Cincinnati Hyde's running against Nick Fridas, if you're supporting her, you're taking money away from Nick Fridas and making it harder for him to run against Congresswoman Abigail Spanberger. The Republicans like Glenn Youngkin have a natural funding advantage, but Democrats have an opportunity to stretch GOP resources thin for only a small Democratic donation. In doing so, Democrats can turn their relative financial disadvantage into an asset this year, allowing the party as a whole to spend its money more effectively than the GOP.
Right.
So number 2, it builds the bench of talented progressive leaders statewide, not just in the urban crescents of the state. CCF tries to remove a barrier to entry for candidates running in Republican districts. There are incredibly talented progressive leaders all over the state, like Jennifer Kitchen, who's just luminous, Caitlin Coakley, Annette Hyde,
yes,
or Emily Scott. As a movement, we are shortchanging ourselves if we miss those candidates. Number 3, this strategy will increase turnout in precincts in Republican districts. This will run up the score for statewide office. And this is really like what the same thing that Run for Something is doing. There's plenty of data that indicates running candidates in all 100 districts has the ability to drive thousands of Democratic voters to the polls statewide that otherwise would have sat out this election. These methods change Democratic voting behaviors and motivate them to vote in more than just like the presidential elections. And then the last reason, number 4, it is hard to commit to put your name on the ballot. A lot of the time when candidates like Annette Hyde or Emily Scott are running for office, they are largely alone in the wilderness. CCF is here to support those candidates and acknowledge and honor the incredible hard work and contribution they are making for all of us in Virginia by running. We know that when we defend the Democratic majority in the House of Delegates in November and in the statewide executive offices, it will be because of the awesome Democratic candidates, a lot of whom are on this call right now, who stepped up to run this year in bright red districts. Competitive Commonwealth Fund supporters are creating an exciting opportunity and space to discover new progressive talent in unexpected places across the Commonwealth. So how can you take action? You can visit our website, follow us on social media, and I will share with you the link where you can contribute. Watch the chat for links and information. Let's defend the top of the ticket and that Democratic majority, because when we vote, we win. I know you all know that.
On that great motto, when we vote, we win. That's our motto. And it's, I have even I always have my postcard, when we vote, we win. And it's so true. And in Virginia, we can vote so much easier early vote. There's, because we do have that blue majority, we have a state legislature that believes, in voting rights. So good for us. I love what you said, and I think it's so true. The top 4 points, we know this, the supporting candidates. And I met Annette Hyde in 2019 when the Network Nova, Stair and Robin, a few of us went out to these areas where they ran. We met Annette and other candidates that ran, and their first thing they said to us was they felt forgotten. And back in 2019, and they gave us a little warning, if we don't get the support in Richmond, we won't run. And we know, and they, Beverly Harrison, or one of them, I'm trying to think, was Beverly said, because I ran, we won, right? Because I ran and lost, we won in Virginia, because that activity, somebody gets up in the morning, could go vote for somebody. And I think that's really smart. So we appreciate you being here. I totally hope that this room is awake and listening, because we need to support these candidates. And this is how I believe we will win. So thank you, Jess.
Thanks for having me.
We'll stay in touch, and everybody give some money to the competitive fund. I love competition. We're going to go right to Deborah Rodman, Vote Mama. Hey girl, how are you?
Good, how are you?
So great to see you. It was so much fun talking to you. So I want to get straight to Vote Mama. When mothers run, they get stuff done.
Yes, I was so lucky when I was running in 2019 for state senate that I got hooked up with Vote Mama, and Kelly can talk about this, Delegate Fowler, that when we were running in 2017, it was just like a ragtag group of us moms who were calling each other up. It was like Kelly, it was Carrie Delaney, it was Kathy Tran, like literally on the phone trying to support each other, because we had these little kids. I had, Amanda brought up money, I pretty much I'm the breadwinner, on very little money. It's really a struggle to run for office, much less be in office, and then take care of these babies. My kids were like 5 and 7 at the time when I was running. And I still think they're traumatized from it all. But we just didn't have the support network. And even though it's the Wild West in terms of campaign finance, it's really not sanctioned. And if you go to your campaign manager, you go to your team, there's just not this normalization of using campaign funds. And so when I ran for state senate in 2019, I met Luba Gretchen Shirley, who ran for Congress in New York. And even though she lost, she has, made incredible changes, because she pushed for congressional candidates to be able to use their money, their campaign funds, for childcare.
Right.
And so now, after this past election, now I'm working as the Virginia State Chair for Vote Mama. We believe, more progressive moms in office, means more policies to help women, children, and working families. And I think if you look at Carrie Delaney and you look at the conversations that happened in the past couple of sessions, I remember I had postpartum anxiety, terrible postpartum anxiety, 2 years in a row. I mean, both babies in a row. And, Carrie Delaney brought this bill up, and you should have seen this all male subcommittee trying to understand what this postpartum anxiety was. And I know that seems like very singular, very woman specific, but it really bleeds over to everything, to have, when we talk about diversity, these diversity of perspectives are so needed, and why Vote Mama supports progressive moms running for office. So we do several things. We, we have a PAC, but we also have, endorsements, where now we have a foundation. So we have the Vote Mama Action Fund, which is, focusing on a training program to train progressive moms to run for office, bringing in that key leadership. We're also looking at, we're endorsing Jennifer Kitchen. We've just endorsed, who's been amazeballs, incredible work, is doing the work to get elected. We've endorsed Rachel Levy and Deborah Gardner this year, and we'll have more endorsements coming up. Probably Kelly Fowler, Kathy Tran, Danica. You can be a mom or a stepmom. It's loosely defined.
Well, what I like about the organizations in the room today, some, and especially like Vote Mama, is that, and you have Run for Something, it's talking about young candidates, and there's all these different struggles and challenges and needs of candidates, right? And specifically women running for office, and then mothers or caretakers definitely need different kinds of support. And the importance of making sure, like people could say, well, they should just stay home and raise their kids. Or no, it's like, look, having people at the table, that diversity, like you said with Kathy Tran, what she brought, that paradigm shift to the floor with bringing a baby on the floor, and that women bring, the seat at the table brings different kinds of legislation. They get it, they lived it, they have lived experience, right? I mean, this is what they bring, and that's why we can't leave them out, and we cannot support, we need to support them.
Yeah, Kelly sat next to me on the floor. Kathy Tran was right behind us. And that, talk about when you said the paradigm shift, when she had that baby on the floor, it just broke. You could just feel 400 years of like patriarchal constraints being, broken up. And it really is, we talk about specific legislation, but it's really when you're at a subcommittee where the bills really go to die, and you have somebody there who can have the lived experiences of being a mom, being a person of color, being a young person. You see the legislation differently, and you really are, I'm a women's studies professor, an anthropologist. You really are thinking about all the different levels of who's going to benefit from this bill and who's going to be impacted from that bill. And that's what moms bring to the legislature.
Awesome. Well, thank you for being here today. We love Mama, Vote Mama. And I know that this is how we win. And I believe we will win because of what you're doing and what you'll continue to do. So we will be this summer just working together.
And we do, and real quick, we'd also work on legislation. So we've been passing legislation. We tried to do it this year in Virginia. The bill died so that we could, have personal finance reform.
Did it die in the Senate by chance?
It died in the Senate.
Oh, I went, okay.
Really, not like you need a progressive voice in the Senate or anything.
Oh, no, just was asking, just curious.
It died in the Senate, and it had everybody agreed, bipartisan agreement about using funds for childcare, campaign funds for childcare. It died because people, our electeds don't want to see how they use their money messed with. I really think that's part of the issue.
A little bit of that transparency. Well, we'll get at that.
Yeah, and just to let everybody know, make sure if you know a mom or you're a new candidate, go to Vote Mama. I'll put it in the
put all your stuff.
And you can apply for an endorsement.
Yes. Oh, great. And put that, any calls to action and any links. So thank you, Deborah. It's always great to see you and your signature glasses. I love it. You're looking great. So thank you.
Thank you.
And we'll bring up your friend next, Kelly Fowler. Kelly in House District, goodness gracious, House District 21. Kelly, it is awesome to see you all the way from the beach. And I want to say something just to get started is, you're really special to us in the grassroots. We go way back, as we say, and I want, again, for people in the room to understand how important they are to you and to this what we're trying to do, is that when you stood up to run, the grassroots was there to support you. Came down to Virginia, knocked doors, did all that. But when you needed money, even, you almost didn't make it to the end. And I know that we saw that call that you needed money, and we're like, we're giving it to her. And we all sent you money, and here you are today. And so the grassroots is really super important. So just tell us, give us an update on what's going on in Virginia Beach, and why does everybody care about Virginia Beach this year?
Absolutely. Thank you so much for doing this and for coordinating. And it's really exciting and re-energizing to see everybody. It really reminds me of the Women's March and how that ignited a lot of things to get in motion. And I just want to share really quickly that you get in this phase where you feel like things are, okay, it's slow going. But the reason I got into this, the original reason, wasn't because I said, oh, I want to be in office, or, I can do that. It was when my daughter came home the day after the election, and she told me, and a lot of you have heard me tell the story, but she said to me, and the words still echo, I can't be like everyone else anymore. I need to be like everybody else. I can't be myself. I need to wear dresses and play with dolls. And her birthday is Inauguration Day. She was born on Obama's Inauguration Day. So her 8th birthday was going to be a first woman president, and it wasn't. So that struck her. And at that point I said, no more. I cannot let my daughter change who she is for society. And so I knew that I had to be a part of the change. So I just started being more active and getting involved. And we had went to the Women's March on her birthday weekend. But I have to share, and she'll be so mad, so please nobody tell her. She came to us, she's 12 now, and she came to us a few weeks ago and told us that that she felt like she was bisexual. And my husband and I said, okay, great. That's whatever. And at 12, you don't need to date yet. We told her that we don't need to have any dates yet. But the fact that she felt that she could tell us that,
yes,
it made me feel like I had done my job.
Yes. And
So,
it makes me feel just even more strongly why we have to do our job, because what we know, if we don't, if we somehow lose any power, daughters, our kids, the environment, you name it, our democracy is at risk. We have to send this message. It's bigger than even really super like, okay, winning election. It is really winning against somebody, this Republican Party that's decided to embrace lying and the big lie, and also denigrate our democracy and our laws. So that's big. We need to do this for the next generation. I mean, it's bigger than that. So
yeah.
so great for you.
I didn't get off topic. I apologize. I felt like it's important because we went through the shift, and we're still working, and we still have more work to do. And so I want to keep doing this, and I can't do it without y'all's support, and neither can these vulnerable districts. I mean, Virginia Beach, you've already said it.
Right.
There's so much here.
But tell us, what is everybody's telling me this year, and we're coming down in August to obviously knock doors. We're going to have one of our women's summits down there, and we'll do virtual and canvassing. But what's going on that it's so hot down there? I know that it's hot, in general, but
yeah, no, this is if you all paths to keeping the majority are really through my district. If I was to lose, we're not going to keep the House. So really, when you think about it, we've got my seat, Delegate Askew, Delegate Guy. We can pick up Glenn Davis's seat for sure. We have 81 that we can win to. That's very nice seat that almost by like 1,400 without a lot of money last time went really well. There's so many seats here that we can not only maintain but we need the help. This is the tipping point here in this area, and I know you probably hear the argument. I'm not good doing call time. I'm that awkward person who's just like, yes, I need money for my campaign, and I don't know, but when I talk about this area, I'm very passionate about it, that there is so much to be gained here and so much to be kept. And I have one of the toughest races. I thought I did last time, but I was wrong. I have the only African-American female Republican challenger for delegate. And so there's a lot there. There's a lot to unpack and to make sure that we communicate with the community and knock at those doors. And with COVID, there's been so many difficult, kind of how do you communicate with people? So, I mean, of course, the biggest thing we can do, and we had our caucus polling, and they said Virginia Beach, Virginia Beach, Virginia Beach. They keep coming back to Virginia Beach because they know that the polling is showing that this area is just really important. I mean, just if we lose and exactly what you guys are saying, up the ballot, it's going to help up the ballot regardless to get people to come out. Yeah, no doubt. And I think that it's going to be this momentum across. And I always believe with any kind of the Republicans are going to be really they're going to have this enthusiasm and the competition thing to want to win, to take something. So we have to be equally and more enthusiastic to get out the vote, because that's the way you have to win in any kind of, when it's talking about power struggle. So we hope we will see you in August. We'll see you before that, and we will be down there and get motivated. We need to do that because I believe we will win with people like you getting out the vote, and it is our values. And somebody could be running against you that could look on paper like, oh, but it's our values that are different. And that's what we're going to tell people. Our issues matter to them. And I know your district. So thank you for being here today, Kelly. We so enjoyed seeing you. Stay in the room if you can, because we want to chat with you later. Yvonne, again, Virginia Beach is in the house. How are you?
I am well. How are you?
You know,
I
we're
hope
holding up.
everyone's doing fine. Well, I'm sitting here listening, and one of the things that Catherine, you said, our democracy is at risk. And that's going to be what brings the African Americans, the Black women, and our Black organizations to the table. Bring them out because what the gains that we have made with this past legislation or session, we can't afford to lose. We don't want to go back. We're going forward. And so when you look now, you asked, and as most of you know, I'm a member of Delta Sigma Theta sorority. We know that. And I was the chair or whatever for over 12, 15 years. And so we have a strong presence. We've actually been in this Commonwealth since 1929, ladies. Okay. And then we just celebrated our 35th anniversary of going to the General Assembly. Actually, we also have several members of the legislative body who are members of that sorority, our sorority. But in addition to Deltas, you also have the Links, you have 4 other Greek organizations. You've got Continentals, everyone is working. But like I said, most of us are nonpartisan, and I can't speak for Delta, so I'm not going to even try to do that. But I will speak for Black women. And these issues that we are talking about, healthcare, COVID has really done a lot to point out the discrepancies and the importance of elections, who's in power, who's elected, from healthcare and the numbers, the high numbers of deaths in our communities, to education and mental health issues, to environmental issues. All of these, I must say, the Democrats are carrying. And so that is very important to us. We're nonpartisan. So of course we cannot say that, they're a Democrat, but whoever we vote for, those who vote our interest.
Well, yeah, and talking about the backbone and these organizations historically, you're talking early on, how these Greek organizations came up that really, Black women and men. This was the backbone of the voting, that really upheld democracy, and really we saw it in the last election, in the 2020 election. And the reason why we have power right now is because the voter turnout in Georgia. So yes. I think you're so right about this. We need to make sure that people do come out and vote. So with that said, how do you think that message is going to get to these communities? So that
we've sort of been had our hands tied a lot because of the virtual. Everything has had to be virtual. And right now, even with my sorority, they haven't released us to really do things out in public yet. And so they can't really go out. But however, they're doing a lot of virtual campaigning, the texting, the postcarding. So we're using digital and social media to get the word out to a lot of our constituents or, our people. And but it's very important. And of course, the Black churches are very important.
Exactly.
Remember that a lot of them get their information from the church. And so, we're working close with the ministers, different congregations, but the word is getting out there.
Good.
We're here. We're here. We're going to work.
The change makers is definitely is what the bold action is coming from, obviously, the Black women, the community, and and just supporting, all these different diverse candidates stepping up. And you're so right. I'm glad you're here today. I hope you stay for the after chat so we could talk some more in private.
I'll be there with Kelly.
Yeah, so we could talk a little quietly more about really our superpowers. So thank you so much, Yvonne. We'll see you in the after chat. Right. Everybody, it's Friday. We're going to run over. Everybody get over it. If you have to leave us, we're so glad you joined us. Pop in for the after chat if you can. I'll hand it over to you, very good friend.
Hi, well, thank you. Well, we're going to focus on another organization that's been around a long time, and that is the National Women's Political Caucus. It's been around since 1971. And let me list just a few of the founders to give you an idea of what a heavyweight this organization is. Founders include Gloria Steinem, Shirley Chisholm, Bella Abzug, Fannie Lou Hamer. Last year, we founded a Virginia chapter, and I'm very excited to have Jennifer Gaylor, the VP of Communications, here to tell us about National Women's Political Caucus Virginia chapter. Welcome, Jennifer.
Thank you, Robin. It's so nice to see you. I feel like I said, I think in another group, NWPC, I think I need by now to put you in my will because I think I rely on you and talk to you so much. So I appreciate you. Delegate Fowler had mentioned really quickly the Women's March. I don't know if y'all can see this, but this is me and my crew at the Women's March, which is right over my shoulder that I keep over here. And that's exactly when I started my journey in politics. I think in Virginia is right about when a lot of other people did. So as Robin said, we have a lot actually of the founding members here today of the Virginia chapter of the NWPC. We have 4 main goals. Is basically to increase women's participation in the political process, increase the number of women in elected and appointed positions. And incidentally, we have 30% of our General Assembly right now in Virginia is women. We're not as good as Nevada, who has 60%, which I would love to see, but we are also not as bad, unfortunately, as West Virginia, our neighbors, which is about 12%. So our whole goal as an organization, and quite honestly, the NWPC is the only national organization that's dedicated exclusively to increasing women's political participation in all levels. So that is our goal, is to get more women. It has been mentioned by a couple of the other guests today that women build consensus. I mean, if anyone has teenagers, twin teenagers, it's absolutely insane what we have to do to try to build consensus around the homeland. So we have a lot of experience with that, and that's what women candidates and women electeds tend to do when they get into some bodies that are making those decisions. So the last 2 things that we are four main goals is supporting the candidates who support women, and to help draft legislation that centers on equality and the needs of women.
So what is the organization up to right now?
So this is our building year. As some of your other organizations, I'm going to be creeping in on you. I'm going to be watching you. We're going to be trying to figure out, learn some of the moves that you have made when you were in your building phase. We're in that phase right now. We're going to concentrate on increasing our presence and our engagement from our membership and growing our membership. We did just do our first class of endorsements. I see a lot of our endorsed House delegate candidates here today. So yay, thank you. That was a phenomenal experience, just being involved in interviewing and looking at who's running. It's amazing. We have 21, I believe, House candidates that we endorsed, and all of them were just so amazing. So I'm very excited about that. We are having a primary night get together. So I put in the chat probably 55 messages ago what our social media handles are. So if you can follow our social media, you'll learn a little bit more about what we're going to be doing on primary night. We've got a couple pundits that are going to be calling some of the races. And we have 2 professors actually that are going to be there as well, kind of talking about why Virginia is important. We've already talked about that a lot tonight. The other thing that we're going to be doing in June, starting June 17th, we're going to start a series, Virginia Legislative Agenda for Women, VLAW, and it's going to be a 4-part series. And the first, mainly we're going to be engaging people to improve laws for women in Virginia. It has been said again by a few of the other speakers today that there are so many laws that affect women positively or negatively, that we really want to take a look at and start to do some creative problem solving and groupthink to help us draft some legislation that we can take into GA 2022. So those two things are coming up in June. Then the biennial for the NWPC National is in July. So we're gonna be a little bit a part of that. So we're excited. We just hit the ground running, Robin. We did not sleep on this.
All right. Well, so if people want to get involved, how can they get involved in terms of how can they become members or become?
Sure. So our website is nwpc-va.org. We are just getting ready to launch a new one with, again, Robin's help. I could not have done it without her. And on our website or on our social media handles, you can also DM us there and we can tell you about how to become a member, because, you know, and like Amanda Litman had said, she's one of my idols because I absolutely love her and what she's been able to accomplish on the national level. We have got to build this local bench. We cannot just jump to these national, you know, offices and those kinds of things. And we have to have qualified, respected, experienced candidates, and that starts where every single one of us lives. So these down ballot races are really, really important. So I'm glad to hear, you know, all of this talk about, you know, getting out the vote and stuff. We have a recurring series just quickly on our social media that where we're just like, it's election season, always in Virginia. It's election season. So it's in, you know, some people are like, oh, it's election season. We like to think of it as we get an opportunity every single year to make a difference. So it's a positive thing that it is always election season in Virginia.
Thank you so much. Catherine, I'm going to bring you back on.
Oh, I'm here already. Thank you, Jennifer. Great to see you. And I am a founding member and a lot of the crew in this room has joined.
Yes.
So I say, please join up and we're going to be at every level making a difference in Virginia. So thank you, Jennifer, for joining us. And for everybody
Absolutely.
here today, we're at that time again where it's the end of Friday, Fun Friday, but it's not the end for us because we know we'll be back next week. And our show teaser next week will be all about voting. That's all I'm going to say right now for that, since we're really over time. And I hope you stay with us for the after chat. Follow us on social media and become a patron. We'll see you in the after chat, everybody. Have a great weekend. Thank you for being here. We'll see you next week.